Okay.
Who is also, you know, an Open Series name in his own right.
Yes, an invitational top 8 as well. I know that because he beat me.
He did
playing
beat
for
you.
top 8. It cuts deep. It cuts deep.
And Aadil is playing Junk Reanimator. No surprise. David Bauer saw such success with it. I imagine when he asked his friend, "Hey, you know, what should I play? What card should I play?" The guy's gonna be my 75, obviously.
Yeah,
like,
right. What are you asking me for? Just copy paste that bad boy and sleeve it up. As we are going to be tied up here, we just cut into the final part of Game 2 there. So Junk Reanimator versus an innovative take on the Aristocrats. Wonder who is favored here. A card that we have not seen for a really long time is Dross Messenger. That card has been, as powerful as that card is, almost obsolete over the past couple of months here.
I'm actually more interested in the Blood Artists. That's a card that we haven't seen too much of. We saw it in an Immortal Servitude combo deck in Kansas City.
Hello.
That was spicy, but we haven't seen it in many other places yet since, you know, a few months ago when it was like getting played as the 2-drop you had to play in Zombies.
Begrudgingly. Some people big fans of it, others like Patrick Sullivan, not so much.
Not so much. I mean, it doesn't attack, so I can understand that. Maybe if we get some Keswick Wolf runs involved, now we've got a bad boy.
Now you're talking. You're speaking our language.
Yeah. I think that post-board, this matchup looks pretty interesting for Aadil. He gets access to Death Ray Shamans if he wants them, as ways to handle the Undying and Grave Crawlers. I'm not sure if it's necessary. He has Tragic Slips, those seem okay. Centaur Healers, those seem okay. And then the spiciest of meatballs, Elder Scale Worm.
Now, this is a card that we've seen in sideboards of multiple people's decks this weekend, and I'm dying to see it be cast.
Oh yeah, me too.
You know, some people it's right in there.
Put into play, perhaps.
Sure, it's in some people's range to be able to put this bad boy into play. Travis Fu, I'm looking at you. I have seen him cast this multiple times, along with his Seattle contingent, all 2 of them, that being Travis and Corbett Gray. But I've been waiting to see this card hit play again, as it is a pretty powerful card that provides a unique effect. And just haven't seen it in sideboards. It just hasn't made it into play yet. I want it, Glenn. I want it.
I mean, I want it too. It sounds awesome. What are Jeff's actual answers to a potential Elder Scale? He has like a Morbid Tragic Slip and a Singleton Dreadbore in the main, and just airballs post board.
Yeah, I mean, nothing spectacular post-board. You see the 3 Tragic Slips, and you know, how can you make that morbid is probably what you're wondering. He does have 4 copies of Cartel Aristocrat, as we said. He also has those 4 Falkmouth Aristocrats as well, so turning that morbid on for Tragic Slip, not too difficult. And he does have that Singleton Dreadbore in his main deck as well.
Tragic Slip also, you know, a strong card against Reanimator, so we know he's not boarding any of those out. It kills the 6 1-drop mana creatures, and in a pinch can be used to kill things like Lot Patrol and Angel Serenity and Obstat once you can get the morbid online.
Yeah.
As you just pointed out, Jeff can do that pretty easily.
Yeah, not too tough. And he is going to be the aggressor in this matchup, where I think Aadil is going to be the control deck. So we've seen Zombies have very aggressive starts in the past. We've seen the combination of Grave Crawler, Diregraph Ghoul lead off to very aggressive starts, being backed by Dross Messengers, Falkmouth Aristocrats, and Hell Riders. But again, as you did point out, with Cartel Aristocrat being the 2-drop of choice here, there's sacrifices do need to be made to the mana base to be able to make that happen.
I'm kind of curious as to the gains of Cartel Aristocrat. I feel like it mostly just gives you the combo function with Blood Artist. That's like why it's here, playing Bloodthorn Vampire, basically. And you know, the other option seems to be like Knight of Infamy, which obviously is very strong in the Aristocrats. And against Junk Reanimator, it's a card I actually like a fair bit. So I'll be curious to see how the trade-offs work, especially regarding, you know, mana and power level, because cards are very different, but they both fill that need for an aggressive 2-drop.
Yeah, the zombie deck, one of the things that was always kind of hindering that deck is that its lack of a very powerful 2-drop. And, you know, it's arguable if Cartel Aristocrat does fill that hole. You know, there are some other kind of stinky zombies like a Highborn Ghoul, or a card that might be a little bit better right now, and surprisingly, card Crypt Keeper. You know, being able to remove, have a little graveyard interaction there, with Junk Reanimator being the best deck. You know, Crypt Keeper is not the best Magic card we've ever seen, but it might be able to get the job done now. I guess the question is it better than Cartel Aristocrat? Who knows?
I mean,
certainly easier to cast.
Jeff seems to.
I guess it's time for me to learn a little something here. As we do see a swap from Jeff, you're going to see Overgrown Tomb come to play untapped, and Avacyn's Pilgrim, a familiar start that we've seen over the past couple weeks here in Standard.
The trade-off of taking a Shockland to play a Mana Dork has, you know, come up time and again in Jund and Junk, but really, like, it gives you so much tempo, especially considering the top end of these decks. I just saw something exciting in Aadil's hand.
Ooh, do tell me.
Oh, it's 7/7, buddy.
Okay.
He's got one.
As we do see Dreadbore take care of that Avacyn's Pilgrim, but Aadil has a backup one, and he does have a Temple Garden, so mana looks okay. We'll see if Jeff has a good turn 3 play. I'm looking for you, Dross Messenger, as we're going to see Godless Shrine coming to play untapped, and is it that, or is it going to be Lingering Souls?
Note that Avacyn's Pilgrim, the first one, even though it died, actually fulfilled the same goal it was seeking to do in the first place, which was, you know, put me a little faster than the opponent. Like the opponent spent their turn responding to my Pilgrim. Untap, just have another one. Like I'm actually still just moving ahead at the exact same clip under no pressure.
And so we do see Lingering Souls be cast. 2 Spirit Tokens going to come into play, and Aadil has his own Lingering Souls, so we might see some spirits trading back and forth here momentarily. We'll see if Aadil has a land, and he does have an Overrun to it, so he does just pass the turn back.
Lingering Souls, a card that is one of the few that actually fights itself very well.
Yes. Need to beat Lingering Souls? Maybe you just play your own.
Yep, totally reasonable.
So you do see a Dragon Skull Summon, another card that does beat Lingering Souls. You see in Jeff's hand right now in Thundermaw Hellkite, but we're not quite there yet. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We do see Jeff is going to cast the Falkenrath Aristocrat, and we'll see if he's going to serve in with that, or if he's just going to kind of hold the fort and maybe hope to have that 5th land.
Yeah, I think if you serve with everything. You're going to be sacking a Spirit to protect anyway. Obviously, it's probably Aadil's best interest to just block the Aristocrat or block both. He's going to have to sack a Spirit anyway, so he'll just sack whichever one you block and prevent you from trading.
So we do see that exchange occur.
Yeah,
that Spirit will save that one.
Jeff's definitely just uninterested in trading Spirits. He wants to get in the damage.
And so the Falkenrath Aristocrat will become indestructible. Take care of that Spirit. And so we do see a little bit of Spirit trade-off action here. And so that'll be Jeff's turn. I guess overall, how do you feel about that attack, Glenn? You know, would you rather just hold steady with the Spirits, not trade anything off because you do have Thundermaw in your hand?
I love that attack from Jeff, and the reason is because this play actually incentivizes Aadil to flash back his Lingering Souls and put 2 more Spirits in play. Okay. He knows he only has 1 blocker left for Falkenrath Aristocrat, and that means that other Spirit's going to keep riding, plus he knows Jeff has more Spirits in the graveyard. So, you know, there's significant incentive to just putting more Spirits on the board. He has to play out of the fear of Thundermaw Hellkite now, at a minimum, or he just has to decide to make his peace with it. We don't even know if Aadil has actually seen Hellkite yet. He might not know to expect it. Obviously, Jeff's playing a non-traditional list. You know, it's tough to figure out exactly what's going on.
So you do see an attack here from Aadil with that Spirit token and that Avacyn's Pilgrim. You're going to see him tap 2 mana, and you are going to see that flashback Lingering Souls. 2 Spirits coming.
Now, note that Aadil did go ahead and attack with the 1. Correctly so. He has hedged his bets. He's getting in a point of damage in the event that he actually does just lose his board to Thundermaw Hellkite here.
And there is a 3rd Avacyn's Pilgrim of the game for Aadil, and he does just pass the turn back. Let's see if Jeff can draw that 5th land. He draws another Falkenrath Aristocrat.
Yeah, it looks like he has a Tragic Slip in his hand as well. That's sad. I was looking forward to that Elder Scale Worm.
You can't always get what you want. That's what I've learned when I'm back here in the booth.
That's what I've been told.
So Jeff certainly has some decision trees available to him. He does have other Aristocrat. He does have Lingering Souls in his graveyard. Has one in his hand. Can't keep Tragic Slip available. So we'll see what route he decides to take this game. I think, you know, the most important card is actually the one that he just can't cast in Thunderbolt Hellkite.
I actually don't like attacking this turn. We already have Trump for those Spirits, so we don't really need to offer trades anymore. Yeah, I like just making more Spirits and, you know, just probably shipping it. Although I would have cast the Lingering Souls in our hand rather than flashback the one in the graveyard. Our only other spell is Tragic Slip, which we can cast either way. So
yeah, you know, maybe he wants to conceal that he has another Lingering Souls in his hand, but for mana efficiency reasons, I think you do cast that one, and if you do brick again on the land, then you're able to just flash back the other 2 and keep rolling. But we're going to see Jeff come in again with the Lingering Souls token and the Falkenrath Aristocrat.
This is an interesting one. He's obviously going to be probably sacking the blocked one again, maybe an unblocked one, I don't know. I guess the one of the summoning sick ones seems fine as well. He's going to sack that. The trade here doesn't really matter that much because his Aristocrat is just going to still sit and play. He doesn't want to give Aadil another chump blocker. No. When he was planning to cast Thundermaw Hellkite, obviously, the fact that there might be another potential chump blocker wasn't a big deal, but now it sort of is.
And now we're going to see Tragic Slip take care of that Avacyn's Pilgrim. We are opening the door, my friend, to an Elder Scale Worm.
Jeff played in that Tragic Slip out of fear of, you know, Angel of Serenity perhaps wrecking his day. I actually don't know if I would have been that afraid of an Angel of Serenity. Like, look at our board right now. It's not really super impressive to Angel it. Yeah. You know, we just sacked that Spirit that was going to get exiled in response anyway. Let the Angel trigger resolve, slip the Angel, next turn player Falkenrath attack again. Like.
Now we do see the draw step for the turn for Jeff is a Blood Artist. So again, you see kind of the problem as we're going to see a Falkenrath Aristocrat and maybe wanting to play that Lingering Souls from hand. So, you know, he can play 2 spells in 1 turn, flashback plus Blood Artist, double flashback, what have you.
Well, Aadil passing turn here was great for Jeff. He really was just hoping to not see a play.
And we are going to see Restoration Angel here. You see Aadil's going to separate the blockers. And we are going to see some blocks here.
My prediction, one Falcon Wrath Aristocrat will die this turn.
Genius. You nailed it.
It's kind of interesting you sack the unblocked Spirit. I think there's like, some motivation to sacking the Falcon Wrath Aristocrat that was blocked by a Lingering Souls token, since one's going to die anyway, to keep your other one around. You get in a point of damage, put Aadil to 16, and he still has that token, but you still have that Hellkite that you're planning to cast. So the token is, theoretically dead. Schrodinger's token, if you will.
We do see a Grizzly salvage there from Aadil. You saw another Skull Worm. You saw 2 copies of Thragtusk, among others, go to the view right there. You saw Aadil take the Thragtusk to his hand.
Who could blame him?
Such a good card.
Beautiful 5/3.
I can't blame him. As we are going to see Addison's Pilgrim getting ready to rumble.
I predict Aadil will be at 22 at the end of this turn.
Someone get this man a full-time job in here. The sideboard needs somebody else.
It looks like he drew a Restoration Angel for turn, obviously very powerful alongside the Thragtusk he just cast. Aadil appears to be pulling pretty far ahead in this game. Jeff's stumble on that Thundermaw Hellkite was pretty much all it took to give Aadil that window.
Yeah, had that Thundermaw been on time, we see a drastically different game, but we do see finally the 5th land, Blood Crypt. Jeff does have to take 2, and you are going to see Thundermaw Hellkite not get the value that it was looking to get a little bit earlier, and he's going to come across for 9. Still going to provide a very solid clock.
Note that this is exactly what we were discussing last turn, where the Spirit token would still just be around, you get to kill the other one for free. Probably not going to be super relevant, but you never know. So far it's added up to 2 points. Interestingly enough, these flyers, one of the reasons that they were so successful in Standard for months before, kind of hitting the back burner a little bit, their power level against decks trying to cast Thragtusk. Thundermaw Hellkite, perfectly capable of racing.
That's right. We are going to go up and over the top of that 5/3. But here we see Addison's Pilgrim and Thragtusk coming on in. Those guys aren't going to be blocking, so they might as well be attacking. And now we are going to see Lingering Souls get flashed back here, as that was revealed off of the Grizzly salvage. And again, as you mentioned, there is a Restoration Angel in Aadil's hand, so really using his mana well here.
Yeah, Aadil's in a great spot, and Jeff is the one who needs help. He has another Lingering Souls, he can keep his Aristocrat around, but the problem is now that these Spirit tokens are coming back, they're creating roadblocks. Really unfortunate for him.
Which you do see Jeff does have Lingering Souls in his hand. He also does still have that Blood Artist, so he does have some cards in his hand that can change this game, as he is going to lead off with Lingering Souls. And Blood Artist is a card that, is kind of innocuous, a little bit subtle, but it does have the ability to turn a game around in a big way.
Yeah, I think if I'm Jeff here, I'm probably just swinging with Thundermaw Hellkite, because I would never block with it, and I'm not that interested in letting Aadil's Spirits get a bunch of value. But he's going to go for it.
We are going to see him attack with the Aristocrat and the Thundermaw Hellkite.
The issue with this attack and letting those Spirits make you sack guys with your Falcon Wrath Aristocrat is that the Spirits you have in play are not able to chump block Thragtusk.
Yep.
He basically is going to take an extra 5 damage at some point in the game because he didn't have a Spirit to throw away.
Yep. And so we will see Restoration interact favorably with Thragtusk. You're going to be token. You get 5 life and, just 6 power add on to the board as well. Pretty cute combo that we're used to seeing in Standard here.
Are people playing that? I wasn't actually...
Should give it a shot. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun, my friend.
That's the new tech? Restoration Angel Thragtusk, huh?
It even brought me to a Pro Tour once. Thank goodness those 2 guys worked that way.
Back in my day, we attacked with our Geist of St. Traps and removed them from combat, like civilized gentlemen.
Oh, so 2012 then, back in your day. I see. The glory days of Magic.
Yeah.
As you look at the annals of history, there's nothing like an insectile aberration and a Restoration Angel working together. Let me tell you.
I can't wait to get home and cast some Delvers and Cloudfin Raptors. I'm excited.
Yeah, that sounds about as bad. That just sounds awful. Who are we kidding?
It looks like Aadil is considering how to block. He basically knew that he wanted to make a 3-4 or 3-3 and gain 5 life this turn. Who can blame him? But he wasn't actually sure about what stage he would want to do past that. The Blood Artist obviously complicates some of his math a little bit, but he has to feel relatively comfortable on 18 life.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you there. He's got to be feeling pretty good.
Looks like he's considering just laying up on that Thundermaw Hellkite with all 3 creatures. I couldn't blame him for that. My opponent is tapped out.
He's working with, basically perfect information here about how he should go about blocking. No surprises here.
So yeah, he likes this block, and so do I.
There will be some blood Artist triggers that do take place. A little bit of drain in game. And, after the combat is resolved and those triggers are resolved, we'll have an updated life total for you guys. But some creatures will bite the dust here.
Seeing this block, actually, this is one of the incentives to attack with both Aristocrat and Thundermaw, the play I didn't advocate previously. If you did expect your opponent to play Restoration Angel, this way Jeff is still going ahead and getting in for damage. He's not going to have to lose a Spirit, as I initially suggested he might.
We do see Qadir confirming something there with our table spotter, just to make sure everything is kosher.
Yep.
Everything looks to be doing just fine. That's Thundermaw's going to take care of some things here. We'll see some Blood Artist triggers, 3 of them to be exact. So a little drain and gain plus Falconite Aristocrat. And it looks like the dust has settled, and our life totals are going to be kosher in just a moment.
Yeah, 15-10 is really not so bad for Jeff here. He's no longer under quite the same level of pressure as he was on 7 facing down the Thragtusk. Blood Artist has alleviated the bleeding a little bit, and he will be able to throw away a Spirit on a Thragtusk block and probably just take 5. That's my guess.
So Blood Artist maybe trying to steal a game here. We've seen it do this before. Just because it's an 0-1, it doesn't really seem like much.
Yeah,
but when you do have a sack outlet out there and Falconite Aristocrat and some chump blockers, it can get the job done.
It's possible he'll actually go for a trade with his Spirit tokens as well to just try and get more damage out of Blood Artist, because it effectively doubles each time. Yep. So if Aadil attacks with everything, perhaps we'll see Spirit on Spirit, Spirit on Pilgrim, and then Jeff willing to take 8 because he's going to be gaining 4 anyway. Also a reasonable line, and that's one of the things about Blood Artist is it makes math complicated.
It does.
That's what Aadil is certainly thinking about now. How am I going to exactly handle this?
Because if you take one misstep, maybe get a little bit too aggressive, that's where things spiral downhill.
Can we go ahead and
gets out of control.
Can we get Elder Scale Worm actually up on the screen? I think we might. It's certainly factoring into Aadil's decisions, considering his hand is Overgrown Tomb Elder Scale Worm. So let's see what he's probably considering at this point.
Elder Scale Worm is this wacky card because it has to do with the number 7, and it is a 7 mana 7/7. But if you're able to get your opponent underneath 7, that's not by combat damage. Then it doesn't ever go back up.
Does Jeff have a card that can get you underneath 7 without combat damage?
That's strange. He does.
That's peculiar.
I know. This is an interaction I actually learned about doing all those M13 drafts. Did way too many of those, but they were a lot of fun. So
one thing that Aadil might be interested in trying to do here is maybe getting Jeff to actually go for that more all-in block to try and get himself to like 5 or something. Yeah. And then Aadil can just cast Elder Scale Worm, effectively gain 2 life, and even though he's not going to have access to the keep me at 7 function, he will actually have still played it as a gigantic centaur healer.
Indeed.
Which is not the worst card.
No, not at all. So now we do see some blocking, some trading.
Jeff's taking the more conservative route, but Aadil also did not offer him any other options really.
Some draining and some gaining, and now we are going to see ba-boom, ba-boom. Elder Scale Worm. Finally, the Rock has come back.
I know you're happy. I know you're happy.
I love Elder Scale
Note
Worm.
that while Aadil's obviously not getting a ton of value out of this Elder Scale Worm, it's still a 7/7 trampler.
Yeah, the thing about that thing, it doesn't have Defender. It does get to crash in there.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember playing Magic at the lunch table in your high school cafeteria, but 7/7 tramplers did the trick.
I would never do that.
You would never do that?
No.
Well,
No, we did during gym class.
Oh, gym class. Yeah. Okay, that's reasonable.
Or study hall.
I mean, I skipped lunch, so I was one of those.
Oh, tough guy, huh?
Yeah, tough guy.
You're just what, anti-food?
Anti a lot of things that happen in a cafeteria in high school.
Those were the best of times.
Jeff looking for help here. It's confirming probably, I imagine, the rulings on Elder Scale Worm, Blood Artist, shenanigans in general.
He's trying to put the pieces together. We've seen this before with a deck like the Aristocrats where it does do these wonky things, and while it didn't involve Blood Artist at the Pro Tour, it certainly does involve Blood Artist right now. We've seen that in the past, as Jeff is going to draw a card here. Looks like he drew a land for the turn.
Blood Crypt, yeah. He has a Lingering Souls, I believe, in his graveyard.
That is accurate. He does have 1 Lingering Souls left to flashback.
So he can get 5 creatures, which means he can effectively put himself, to a likely 13, should it come to that in combat. And if you look over at Aadil's board, assuming Jeff blocks correctly, there's really no way for him to get in 13 damage. Which means that he can actually put Aadil in range of death to a top-decked Thundermaw Hellkite or something similar. Once Aadil is below 7, Elder Scale Worm's protection will not be as good.
So now we're going to see
a
second
wow! That is a sizable game.
2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6.
Now, note the trick here is that Jeff can't just fling all of his guys.
Yep.
Because he would have to fling a Blood Artist and remove his ability to actually get in the full 10.
So for some reason, I think that second Blood Artist does it.
I think it does, because now Aadil can't attack. Because if a Blood Artist gets to die in combat, then Jeff can fling all of his creatures, leave the Blood Artist all by itself in play, and as long as he doesn't die to combat damage, the trigger will stack and reduce Aadil to 0.
I actually think that this is going to do it here, because now that token's going to die. You're going to see 2 more Blood Artist triggers. Aadil's going to go down to 6, because of course Blood Artist works its way around the Elder Scale Worm. He's going to go down to 4.
That's it. Yep, Jeff has double-checked his math.
Down to 2. As long as my math is correct.
I believe it is.
That'll put him down to 0. Exactly. And that's a handshake. Jeff Arnot wins off a looked to be a top deck Blood Artist there.
Elder Scale Worm defeated by a pair of 0/1s.
Unbelievable.
Puh.
A 7/7 Trample with all that text for 7 mana defeated by a lousy 0/1 Vampire.
Have a word with Gaia here on this.